Hi, I'm Jamie. I'm here to tell you a little bit more about some of the different mandates, loans, and grants that are coming out for small businesses. So for today, I really want to concentrate on the Paycheck Protection Program. This is something that was announced last week as part of the CARES Act for small business by the federal government. That's the Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Security Act. So the Paycheck Protection Program is really meant to provide a small revenue replacement program for small businesses during this time. It's there to help you maintain payroll, to help restore payroll to pre-virus levels, and essentially to keep jobs in place, to try to keep people employed. So this program is available, or it's going to be available when the application launches, to small businesses that employ fewer than 500 people. One of the interesting things about this is that it's also available to self-employed folks, gig workers, sole proprietors, and independent contractors. But for the purposes of this discussion, I really want to focus more on small business and what is available to small business owners through the Paycheck Protection Program. So one of the really exciting things about this is that the program can actually be converted into a grant, or basically the loan can be forgiven if you're able to restore your payroll to pre-virus levels within a certain amount of time. So I will talk to you a little bit more about that in a moment. Again, these loans are not quite available yet. When that application is up, you will go to the SBA's Lender Match portal, and that is on the SBA website, the Small Business Administration website at sba.gov. And that portal will help match you to a local approved bank or credit union that can help you with your application. So how much are these loans? They will be up to 250% of your average payroll from the period of February 15th, 2019 to June 30th, 2019. Now, I know that we have some newer businesses that were not yet open during that time period. If you are a newer business, then you do have the option of taking your payroll period from January 1st, 2020 through February 29th, 2020. So those are the look back periods for this application. And the definition of payroll is pretty generous. It includes not only those wages and salaries, but you can also include tips, commissions, any sort of leave that happened within your business. And so if you were paying sick leave, if you were paying family leave, vacation leave, all of those are included under that umbrella of a payroll expense. Also, payroll taxes are part of that. So again, this loan can equal 250% of that average payroll. So basically about 10 weeks worth of payroll. Now, what can you use this for? You can use this loan to cover basic operating expenses. So to help maintain payroll, obviously, keep those paychecks coming to try to preserve jobs. The loan can also be used for other expenses, including rent, utilities, interest on a mortgage if you have a business mortgage, group healthcare premiums. So a lot of those basic operating expenses that help you maintain employment levels and maintain just physically your spot of business, this loan can help you with that. Now, again, I mentioned that this loan can actually be forgiven and essentially converted at least partially into a grant. So the condition on that is that you restore your payroll levels to the pre-virus level by June 30th, 2020. So in other words, in January, if for a new business looking at that look back period, if you were employing 10 people, they want to see that you have restored that by June 30th of this year. If you've already laid off employees, then you can still apply for this. They're going to look at that payroll look back period that I mentioned. So don't let that discourage you from looking into this as an option for your business. Now, I do want to say a little bit about the math here, because if the loan that you're getting is equivalent to about 10 weeks of your average payroll during a normal employment period, that look back period that we mentioned, then that is the maximum amount, obviously, that can be forgiven. They can't forgive any more than what you've actually taken out. But what they look at in terms of how much of that can be forgiven and turned into a grant is the equivalent of your spending in the 8-week period after the origination of the loan. Okay, so I want to be very careful that in many circumstances, that might mean that that entire loan is not forgiven, because many businesses that are taking this out in those first 8 weeks after the origination of the loan, their expenses may not actually be equivalent to 10 weeks payroll expenses during the pre-virus period. So this is definitely something to check in with your accountant about, just to manage your own expectations about what might ultimately be forgiven and what you'll still be liable for payment on. Some other good news about these loans is that the terms are pretty flexible. You actually don't have to demonstrate economic harm, which some people have criticized because they don't obviously want businesses to come in and apply for these that do not need them as badly as businesses that really have been very much harmed by this epidemic. So that's a factor, but at least it really reduces your paperwork. If you're looking into applying for one of these, you don't have to go through a lot of hoops to demonstrate economic harm. What you do have to do is to make a few good faith certifications that this is going to provide you the support to maintain your business during this time. The loan has a 6 to 12 month deferment period before you have to begin making payments on it, and that's, I believe, going to vary by lender. And the federal government is telling us that applications for this should be available at the end of this week, by Friday, which would be April 3rd. There are experts out there, and I tend to agree with them, that are saying that that is extremely ambitious and to the point of being unrealistic, and that we're probably looking at several weeks wait time before this actually becomes available. Obviously, we've got a lot of people that really need this now, but again, I want to sort of help manage expectations for those of you in our community that it may not be available by the end of this week, although they are saying that it will be. We will see. There's no word on how long it will take for the funds to come through once you've actually submitted a complete application. My own position, just pure speculation, is that you are probably looking at up to 10 business days based on other loans. But again, we don't yet know the answer to that. What I would suggest, if you think this might be a good solution for your business, is start preparing yourself now. Touch base with your accountant if you work with one. You're going to want to try to defer whatever payments that you're making right now. Talk to your lenders, see if they will defer payments. Talk to your utility companies. Try to minimize the amount of money that's already going out of your business if you haven't done this already. And then also make sure that you assemble your payroll documents. And I haven't seen yet exactly what that will consist of, but you've got your payroll records. You may also want to have timesheets. If there was any sort of leave that was included in your payroll for those look-back periods, you might want to gather documentation on that, especially for something like family leave, where it tends to be something where you do have to compile some sort of documentation. So if you can prepare yourself now, then once this is online, you will be in a good position to be one of the first to apply. And again, with those payroll records, if you're looking back at those, if you have been in business since the beginning of 2019, you'll need to pull documents from February 15th, 2019 through June 30th, 2019. If you are a newer business, then that look back period is January 1st, 2020 to February 29th, 2020. So that's what you need to look at. I hope this was helpful. I will try as much as possible to break down other loans, grants, and other opportunities every day or a few times a week at least. And please reach out to me for any questions. We are looking to host some Zoom webinars with a number of experts in different fields who can help sort of walk through more detail on different situations that small businesses are facing right now. But, there are a lot of us out here that are rooting for you. We're here for you. Please reach out if there's anything that we can do, and look forward to providing more information. Thank you.